Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, your sanctuary with retreat experts, where we spill the tea on retreat success. Here we dive into crafting transformational guest experiences, talk about how to avoid pitfalls, and unlock marketing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned guru or a budding enthusiast, we've got the inside scoop for you. Join us as we learn how to flourish in this magical world of retreats.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, formerly the Happy Hour Podcast. It's Shannon, and I am doing another show with my husband, Nathan. He was insistent on this one, y'all, because it has to do with a story about me. But I think many times in our business, most of y'all are listening are either entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or maybe you want to be.
Solopreneurs.
Yes, he keeps making fun of my word.
I love it.
It's not my word, but anyhow, and you know, you could get hit with one obstacle or mistake or issue, and you're like, that's it, I'm done, I give up. And you just throw giant pity parties, you call it, and you think that's it. You're walking away from it.
You allow
or you wallow in it.
You allow certain things that happen to you instead of for you, is how you see it. And then all of a sudden, you let it derail you for an extended amount of time, whether it's stubbing your toe, getting out of bed in the morning, whether it's someone flipping you off, driving to work, or a fender bender, or maybe you forgot something 4 hours away from the house, and it's midnight. And so, but we allow that one thing to take everything that was going great to now make it the worst day in the world, the worst week in the world. You know, I always say in our business, a good day can make a good week. A good week can make a good month can make a good quarter, and a good quarter can make a good year. Right? It just takes that one thing today to say, holy cow, today is, and literally you and I were in the car, which is what this
we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
But we have these three things go great, and we're like, it's 4 o'clock and they're like, this is the greatest day ever, or this is the greatest week ever. And I've done this more than once, where on Friday I look at my week and go, man, that was a good week. Man, so Saturday morning I'm feeling good, and Monday morning nothing's changed. Like I haven't had a business day yet, and Monday morning I'm like, oh my gosh, this week is tough, and I'm like, it's so fast, and so that's the point.
The thing for me is when we talk about like you run into an obstacle or an issue or something happens that just throws you off. For me, what happens there is not even the issue; it's the energetic shift, and that can take you down. And it can ruin your entire day, your entire week, your entire month if you allow it, right? So when something happens, some issue, some mistake, some obstacle, and you just are like deflated, and then you stay there too long, you are literally going to attract more things, more obstacles, more issues. And really it's because you're looking for them, because you're expecting them. You're expecting shit to go wrong at that point.
It's a momentum shift.
It's energy for me.
But you see it in sports, right? You see a team winning the game, the first half, and all of a sudden the momentum switch. Something happened. They threw an interception. They had a turnover, and all of a sudden the momentum goes from one team to the other. Well, we're the field, and our emotions are the teams, and so we have all this momentum making us feel good. Happiness has all the momentum, and then one thing happens, and we let negativity take all that momentum, and that same momentum that was driving us to this movement is now driving us in the ground.
Yeah. So to kick off why this came up, my husband and I, if you listen to the previous podcast, then you
got the intro to that.
You know that we every year come down here to the beach and we do a business planning trip. We don't see very much of the beach, but it's just a way for especially me to disconnect from my everyday to-do list and be able to focus on business growth and business planning.
No different than a company going away, a big company taking all the leaders away, which is what we recommend in our business.
Absolutely.
To get away so you can focus on working on the business, because if you stay in your office or in your home office or your ranch or whatever it may be, the things that are working in your business, the people, the issues, like you don't get out of it. So you gotta, we come to the beach to step out of the business so we can step into the planning.
It allows my creativity to come out a lot too. So anyway, so we come every year.
And to reignite the passion and love we have for our.
So my laptop has everything on it. I mean, we can't do a business planning trip without it.
My laptop's important
too. Just to give you an idea, it is not. Sorry, it just isn't. So we, on the first day that we're leaving our house, we we go and we drop our kids off at camp first. And then we're driving all the way.
Let's be clear. We left at 2 p.m.
Yeah, we left at 2 p.m.
Okay.
We dropped the kids off at school or at camp, and then we get on the road, and it was such a great drive. It was 4 hours, but it was such a great drive.
We had a great conversation.
Yeah, such good conversation.
Listening to books.
Amazing books. It was so awesome.
Like we were in the mojo. Like we were getting ready. Like we were like, hey, tomorrow we're going to do this, and tonight we're going to the merry-go-round. If you're old enough to remember the merry-go-round, right? You would literally took all your might to get the merry-go-round. And then afterwards, you could just do this, right? You just tap the bar. Okay, we're in the car, and we're just tapping the bar because the merry-go-round is spinning.
It is, and it is like we are at the highest of like energy, and it's just feeling so good. And I don't know what made you do it.
I don't know. I know this. We were 5 miles from the
it was 5
neighborhood.
minutes, maybe 5 miles too. I don't know, but we were literally 5 minutes. The GPS was like 5 minutes, and we're going to arrive at the beach house. And he goes, "You did bring your laptop, right?"
And I think it's because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, I don't remember seeing her bag.
Yeah. So I look at Nathan and I'm like, in my head and heart, I'm like, I would never leave my laptop. I would not leave my laptop. But as soon as he said it, in the very core of my heart, I was like, my fucking laptop. And he's looking at me and I'm like, no, it has to be here. I'm like, you didn't see it I didn't see it. What? And so I'm like, and so before we even got to the beach house, I climb all the way to the trunk and I'm digging and there's no laptop. You guys, if there's no laptop, if there's no laptop,
there's
no business plan. We got it. If there's no laptop, there's no business planning. There's none. I'm not a write it on piece of paper girl. Like we come up with a plan, we do action. Come up with a plan, we do action.
But we got to do this because it's kind of like watching a movie. Okay, but you know, you go to a movie and they show the same scene and then they do that same scene from one perspective and then they go that back a little bit.
I'm not there yet.
I know.
The point is, I lost my mind. I literally started crying.
Before you give the outcome, you got to let me give my perception too while I'm driving. So
you just said
tell them what happened.
She loses her mind.
No.
I just started crying.
I'm driving the car, and in my head, I'm coming up. I'm like, okay, this is a atomic situation, and in my head, I'm like, all right, I know what's going to happen. I'm trying to figure out in seconds.
Oh yeah,
how I'm going to handle this.
He does ask me the dumbest question. Well, can't we just use mine?
I didn't think that was very dumb.
I'm like, what's on your laptop? Nothing.
What's on
everything is on mine. All the videos, all the pictures, all the documents.
You put all this stuff in the cloud?
No, not everything's in the cloud, but it wouldn't matter anyways. Like everything is stored. My passwords are stored.
Quite candidly, even if we could, we wouldn't. You know why? Because what makes you spectacular also makes you crazy. And there are certain things that have to be in certain orders because detail matters to you.
Well, and you needed your laptop anyway because you had coaching sessions.
No, I'm with you. But so
yes, I did, y'all. Let me tell you. I want to very much recognize that I melted down. And it wasn't even a temper tantrum. I just literally sat there and started crying.
Oh no, you weren't screaming.
I just started crying because all I kept thinking is,
how could I do that? We just
drove 4 hours.
Or 6.
And here's what's really weird too. It starts going through my head. I'm like, I've never gone on a 4-hour drive where I haven't had to get on my laptop. Usually I'm having to pull it out at some point and get on my laptop. I remember when I was putting my laptop in my laptop bag at the house thinking, I should just go put this in the car now. And I remember thinking, no, you wouldn't forget your laptop, so it doesn't matter. Like so many little things that's like, how did we go 4 hours? How did we go 4 hours without me realizing we didn't have my laptop? Like it was just so weird. So I honestly just started crying. I'm like, we just drove all this way. We've booked this house that we're staying in. We have just, I need my laptop. I gotta have my laptop. That's all there is to it. I gotta have my laptop.
Which, listen,
which we're recording on now so you can see where it went.
Here's what I do believe. I mean, think about this for a minute. Like we've never, to your point a minute ago, and I can't think of one time. I can't even think driving 15 minutes to the office where you haven't reached in the bag while I'm driving and grabbed your laptop. Like never. Especially all the emails and stuff you were doing from your phone. There is a reason this happened, and I'm not saying that everything happens for a reason. Although everything does happen for a reason.
I do.
Someone had to hear this. Like this is going to this learning experience for us is going to help someone else save something or do something. Because I got to tell you, and maybe it was for us. Maybe it was to show you.
I think it was for me.
How amazing your husband is.
No.
Maybe I needed I needed a win as a husband.
Nope.
No.
But it was very much a winning moment for you, and I'll tell everybody why. But no, I actually think I needed a lesson on how fast I need to start switching my energy.
The 5-minute swing?
Yeah, because see, the thing is, in a quick moment, I felt everything we had built up. And it had been weeks too, to be honest with you. I've been on this.
Yeah.
So you've been talking about every morning. Weeks and weeks of buildup of momentum and what we're about to accomplish and what we're going to plan for. And I literally felt all of it deflate and cave in just because I forgot my laptop. Like,
that is a good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt it all caving in, and so there was a part of me that's like, fuck it, or whatever. And that's bullshit. Like, let's call it for what it is. That's bullshit. And so the winning moment, 100%, was my husband going, all right, well, we know what we got to do. We're going to have to turn around. And I'm crying. And he's like, babe, you got 5 minutes to be upset, pissed, sad, whatever, and then let's go. We're going to do this. And it did. It was like, okay. Because in my mind, I was like, fuck, now we're going to have to drive all the way back and then all the way back here. But we did have a savior that helped us, so we're going to talk about that too. But it literally was like, look, 5 minutes pity party, and then
listen,
it is what it is. You can't change it.
Nope. We went to the house. We unloaded all the groceries because we just came from the grocery store. Unloaded all the groceries and unloaded all our bags. Filled up our little containers with some club soda, literally, or mineral water. We were actually, water. By the way, we actually Googled the difference between sparkling water and club soda. We'll talk about that in a whole nother show. Very interesting. But we filled our little Stanley things up. And we drove back.
The intention, just so you guys know, before we found out I left my laptop, we were so excited to get to the house, unload everything,
have a drink,
make a cocktail, sit down, and get excited for what we were going to accomplish over the next few days. And instead, we got to unload the car, grab a sparkling water, and get the fuck back in the car and drive to go get my laptop, right? And so you can see how, like, but it ended up being, I really feel like, and y'all, some of you are going, what's the big deal? You left your laptop, or this isn't a learning moment. Y'all, it is. It was such a learning moment for me, such an energetic reminder, such a switch. Like, we do all have a switch. I could have just stayed in that space. I could have stayed in that space the whole drive back. Look, we're wasting our time. We're going to be exhausted now. We're kicking this off wrong. Is this a sign? Like, I could have went through all of that.
And you were like, you stay here. I'm going to go. I'm like, let's go.
But instead, Nathan called Josh, our incredible branch manager.
By the way,
Josh is in bed because it's 9 o'clock at night.
He just had dinner. He's been working since 7 in the morning, right outside. And then I call him and say, hey, man, I need 2 favors, and one's a huge one. And he's like, oh, you can just hear, he's like, shit. And then I said,
we love you, Josh.
I need you to go to the house and confirm that Shen's briefcase is
I knew exactly where it was.
And he goes, oh, it is. I saw it. I'm like, how about a phone call next time? But I'm like, he's doing the same thing we're doing. Like, I just didn't even register. And so Josh and his entire family
and Robin and Daniela, daughter,
gets in their car and hightails it, and we're heading the same direction. So I'm like, brother, keep on driving to the Alamo Dome, which is in San Antonio. We're coming from Port A, and we met at mile marker at exit 109, and we left and filled up with gas and
had a coffee.
Yep, and we drove 2 hours, and so yes,
and so. Essentially, we drove 2 hours to meet Sweet Josh and his family, and then 2 hours back. We did not get back to the house. Yep. We did not get back to the house till after 12:30 in the morning. And it was actually awesome. It was actually funny. It was fun and funny. And we listened to more books, and we, were able to laugh it off. And Josh and his family were such a joy just to be able to meet up with and see.
Yeah, they're like, we need to take a road trip. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is what you were thinking.
But do you know how we could have looked at it? And I would have. Yep. I feel like I would have slipped in that space very easily if you hadn't given me that reminder. I would have just been so bitchy and
these 2 days would have been ruined.
Yeah, ruined.
Would have been ruined.
Yeah, I make fun of him because he says ruined and orange. I don't know what that accent is. It's not even a Texas accent. But anyway, we could have, that's what it is. We could have let it ruin our whole trip. We could have let it ruin the whole trip. I could have easily. Nathan is much, much better at going, okay, I'm done being pissed or I'm done being whatever. It's time to move on. And I can stay in it a little bit longer. And so I guess this is an invitation. Again, if you watched or listened to the last podcast, we had a challenge for you. And this is now another invitation or challenge, is to consider the things that take you down and how could you flip that around? How could you think that that bad thing happened for you instead of against you? Because now I know for a fact that leaving my laptop behind happened for us.
Well, listen.
I do.
How many more things are going to happen to you that you're going to have to change it for you? And the way you do it is by giving yourself 5 minutes, cry about your little loss, right? We learned this from one of the mini books, but cry about your loss. Now, put your big boy, big girl pants on, and let's go play the game again.
Yeah,
let's turn around. And I think that was the lesson where it's like, I think that's the thing we can take with us. Whenever ever something goes wrong with us, if you feel, you and I always say, how you feel? I'm feeling great. Okay, you got 5 minutes. Turn it to blue.
He said gray, not great.
Gray, like the color gray.
Like yucky. I do want to preface that we're talking about business. When travesty or devastating things happen to us in our personal life, there's a whole different thing. And that's not what we're addressing. We're addressing when this stuff happens to you in business, when you run into an obstacle or you run into an issue or something doesn't go the way you wanted or a mistake was made that cost you money or time or whatever it is, like take your 5 minutes, lean into that suck, and then get out of it. Like, how could you look at it differently? If your best friend was going through that, what would you say to them to help them look at it differently? And say that to yourself.
But listen, you bring up a good point. Like, people can look into anything and see good or bad in it.
Yeah.
I choose to see the good in everything because there's no value in seeing bad. And that makes me a dummy or
if you're watching this, the bottom of
What
my
is that
cup,
bottom
it's
of that?
my electrolytes. And it's like,
It's a little disturbing.
it's just
Because
doesn't.
the water's hard. I don't know, I'm making that up.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks
But
funny.
it's funny because, John, our buddy, and I first met him, he's like, dude, and he's the former cop, and he's like, not everybody's good. I'm like,
No, he makes fun of me.
But because you say they're doing the best they can with what they have.
Everybody is doing the best they can with what they have, and I know people don't agree with me. That's a therapist.
But I think again, you have to assume that people are saying things to be nice, and so hopefully you're not taking anything we say.
You're assuming the best out of people, rather than the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, like because you're making a point about, hey, we're not talking about tragedy or whatever. I'm with you. Like,
well, I just
don't
want to
let
keep
the
it
little
focused.
thing. Yeah, I'm with you. Our idea of what we're sharing is so often we let the little things, leaving your laptop at home and having to turn around for 4 hours. In the big grand scheme of things, that's a little thing. And we
didn't
allow,
feel like it for
right,
5
I'm with
minutes.
you.
It did not.
But we don't allow the little hiccups to get in the way of a successful or great day.
But
That's
even
all.
the big things in business. I mean, think about the time. And
We've gone broke twice?
We've gone twice on the brink of massive bankruptcy. Not just like,
Well, we never done bankruptcy. We did,
no, but twice we've been on the brink.
Yeah.
And I believe to this day, the reason why we got that close was because as we started feeling the pressure, we started focusing on the pressure and we started focusing on everything that wasn't going right and the cancellations or whatever it was. And so we kept spiraling down there. And then both times, somehow we got on the same page to flip that script and go, this is bullshit.
Yep.
We can't stay here.
Yeah, listen,
in
aren't you
this
glad?
mindset.
Aren't you glad the last time it happened it was quite candidly 3 or 4 years before COVID ever happened? So I think it prepared us mentally. So when COVID hit, we didn't.
It was a little bit more before that. I think it was about 5 years before COVID.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
15, 16.
But yeah, and so that when COVID hit, we were like, okay, we're both unemployed. Pick up our pants and go. It is what it is.
Listen, and we didn't even skip a beat. I mean, we bought the ranch. We were building the house. I think our banker was more nervous than we were. And COVID became, I'm not saying COVID was a blessing for anybody.
I always talk about how it was a shitty wrapped gift in some ways.
Yeah, but it really, it was, we got through it. And we got through it well, like most people did, or some people in business, right? I mean,
there are some.
I can't tell you how many speeches I do right now. People say, hey, my guys have got to go out and earn business now. And I'm doing a lot of speeches on how do you get to back to being proactive. And I think that's for us in business of ourselves. No matter where you are, being proactive is always the right behavior. So
yeah. So
I didn't mean to go on a tangent there.
No, I think at the end of the day, what we're saying and we're challenging you is that
And us
and ourselves truly is, how can you look at the things that go quote unquote wrong, or challenges or issues or mistakes? How could you look at it happening for you rather than to you? Like, how could you do that? What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would it be like? Could you picture yourself a year from that time, a year from that moment it happening, and how much you've learned and grown from it? Because that will happen in all of it. So how can you do that? And I guess that's our challenge to you as you watch this is, and maybe even encouragement that we've gone through a lot of stuff when it comes to business.
It's still going to go to.
We are.
A lot more.
Because you know why? Because we're not willing to be stagnant. As you've said before, you're either growing or dying in your business and what you're doing.
I didn't make that up. I stole that from someone, like most of the stuff.
So if you're not continuously challenging yourself and continuously growing, then you're just going to fall backwards and fall backwards. That's just the way the momentum of the world works. It just works that way. And so if you are wanting to grow and you are wanting to continue to be whatever it is that you envision, you have to challenge yourself. And when you challenge yourself, you're going to run into obstacles. You're going to make mistakes. Bad shit's going to happen. It just is. It's part of it, because that's the best way we learn anyhow, is through those things. But how can you, in that moment, or give yourself 5 minutes, how can you not allow that to tear you down?
But it goes back to the old saying. We can't control the things that happen in our lives.
Yeah.
The only thing we can control, the same thing we teach our children, is how we respond to it, how we react. And then, and that same way is, how do we proactively put ourselves in the best position to deal with it? And whether you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, a retreat leader,
or wanting to be
yoga teacher, whatever,
or even corporate, or whatever you do,
or you do what I do, right? And I'll never forget when I left corporate America to do this, writing a book and public speaking, be an author. My accountant's like, let me get this straight. You're going to leave that income for this income, because it was zero
for quite a while.
And you know, we did it, and so.
But we ran into a lot of obstacles that could have stopped us.
But yeah, and I think that's a whole nother podcast in the sense of, like, because I think this is about the turnaround. Because I want to talk about the conversation you and I had to have in 2008, but which was magical, and I share with a lot of people. But I think the key here is, don't let the little speed bumps stop us from getting to our destination.
Or even the big cracks in the ground. Don't let that stop you. So our whole point, hopefully you got from us, is you're going to have mistakes. You're going to have bumps. You're going to have issues and obstacles. You're even going to have naysayers. You even might have people who will try to tear you down for what you're doing. All the time. You're going to have it.
All the time.
Don't let that do that. Don't let that happen. Give yourself 5 minutes and get back up and go after it. And surround yourself with those who are your cheerleaders. Listen to things that are uplifting. Block the noise out. Block the noise out. Block the noise out.
I'll tell you, last bit on that, because I love you said don't listen to naysayers. You know, I get to work with some pretty awesome, very, very successful
you do.
Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And the one thing every one of them will tell you, and they're significantly more successful than I am, and every one of them will tell you, keep the naysayers out of your way. And I think that's important. So just like I think today's rule, or the lesson today, is it's the 5 minute pity party, then move on, right? It's give yourself 5 minutes, feel the pain, and then move on. I think and
see how you can shift. Literally see how you can shift from this happened to me to this happened for me.
Well,
because that is what will catapult you.
I agree. And I think the second part is that what you started about the naysayers. And I don't mean that in the grand scheme of things. I mean, still in the 5 minute rule. You need to have a person like we have, because we have each other. Mm-hmm. And if I get in that 5 minute pool of negativity or pity party, I need someone like Shannon to go, okay, you got 5 minutes and I'm pulling you out.
Yeah.
Like, you need someone who's going to pull you out and help you out and not keep pushing you in it. And I think that's where your naysayer comment comes in, is you need to have someone in your life, whether it's a life partner or a spouse like we have, or a business partner, or a friend, or a coach,
or a mentor,
that's going to look at you and say, okay, you got 5 minutes, now grab my hand and let's go. And don't hang out with someone and say, yeah, you're right, you should stay in here and just stay in your misery. The naysayers will do that for you. And so I think the reason why I say that is that's where I think is important when you bring that up, how to tie that in.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you are ready now. Whatever just happened was not your most ideal in the last 24 hours or week or whatever it was, and you were like stuck there.
You got 5.
You get unstuck. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Learn more at www.theretreatranch.com. See you next time.